3, 2, 1. Stir it up. We're live. Where do we begin, right? Let's tell everybody your story. So you were wrongfully convicted of murder. You spent 2 years on death row before you were exonerated by DNA evidence.
That's correct. I had 2 particularly good games of Titanfall, and after they found the Spitfire in my possession, it was all over from there. It was just this downward spiral. Everybody else was killing each other with all sorts of weapons. They're using cars, they have alternators, they're using G2s, but I'm the only one getting pinned for 60 murder charges in 2 games. It's really hard to wrap your head around it because you don't know like what makes this so different. I talked to my wife about it and she's like, what's a Spitfire? I can't use a Spitfire without getting a message condemning me to death. I told the police, but they didn't care about these death threats. I can't go anywhere without being recognized now. It's like, Spitfire user, Spitfire user. Like, I've been outed from my own community just for using a gun that's in the game. So let's start talking about the issues. And I'm going to show you some examples, and I'm hoping by the end, we're going to try to come with a somewhat of a consensus on what the Spitfire is, what it isn't, and what is its place in Titanfall, if it even has a place. So this is going to be about a 60 kill mashup of 2 games that I had. This was the first game. This ended up being 28 kills, and then the next one was 34 kills. Now you're going to notice a few things during these examples that kind of, you know, may push you one way or the other. For one, you're going to notice that I only used it on a very open level, because what I find about the Spitfire, and we're going to be doing both sides, is that it's not just, well, it's very good at long range. It's decent at short range. You're going to see me play a little bit in short range, but I actually found it quite difficult to do. It wasn't like as easy as when I use an alternator or a car or the R101, which have a lot easier time in the close game. I found that it was very hard because you have to, for one, aim down sights, and if your aim down sight sensitivity is somewhat low, mine's at 4, it's a little bit hard to move it because it has more zoom than the R101 or even the assault rifles, and it's just sluggish. It's not my favorite gun when it comes to close, so that's one of the things that you have to take into account, that you're going to notice that I only picked it for this level. And that's a conscious choice. I don't want to have to deal with the Spitfire in close range. This is where this thing's going to shine, so that's where I ended up using it. And I was doing a lot of that the other day when I was playing. I actually switched up my weapon in Titan based on the map every time. Short range map, I'm like car or R101. Long range map, I brought out the Spitfire. Sometimes the R101. But the Spitfire for way longer range, it's just crazy. You're going to see some of the examples here, and this was me just picking it up. First thing that day, this was my opening round, and then I did one more for good measure. So it's definitely not a gun that you need to get used to. It's just a very easy gun to use. For one, there was an example where you're gonna see me shoot grunts, and then I even have enough bullets to kill a pilot. Like, that's insane. Like, why? Like, I understood before why it had so many bullets, because it was so inaccurate. It makes sense to have more bullets. It was really strong against, obviously, big groups of grunts, regardless of the accuracy, just because of its bullets. They don't really dodge you, so it was easy. Then it made sense. But if you're gonna give it the accuracy boost and still retain all those bullets, it's like, why does it get such a big advantage? You can do huge runs because you never get caught with the reloads. Like, that just happens in Titanfall, that as you're killing people and you're moving around quickly, you stumble on people a lot faster. You usually get caught with an empty gun if you're getting a lot of kills. With the Spitfire, it really doesn't happen often. Look how many bullets you get, and it kills in like 3 shots up close. Its accuracy at distance is not perfect. You can't just spam it. It does seem to get less accurate the longer you hold down the trigger. At close range, you can just let it go ham. At range, if you go tuck, 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 the accuracy is amazing, and it absolutely destroys. And it's actually satisfying to use, but the question has to be asked, is it too user-friendly? Because it does promote just having your feet on the ground, aim down sights, and shooting. If you picked it up and knew nothing about Titanfall, you'd be fine. I think just because of the level and the key positions that you can take with it, it makes it so strong that it may be a little bit too easy to use. I have 3 hours with this gun, and I managed to pull this off, so I haven't used this in months. And even when I did use it, like, to put on these 3 hours, they have been so spread out that I never actually specialized with the gun. But, you know, as I put it back on, I feel that I'm a little bit better shooting, aiming down sights since I did that run with the R101. I know when I came off of the alternator and then going into the Spitfire, it felt awkward, just like going from the alternator to the R101 felt really weird. I just couldn't control it when I was aiming down sights. It felt really hard to aim, but after I got used to it, you know, it just became a lot more natural. I don't find it as hard as I did at the beginning. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So how does it compare to long-range guns? It compares and it challenges very, very well. Close range, I found that it struggled, but that's only because I think it's my familiarity with the weapon. It's just not that good. So when I aim down sights, I'm a little bit thrown off by how much it zooms. It just throws me off. I'm not used to it, but I think it is something I could get used to, which could make this weapon a little bit better close up. But in close range, I don't think it's much better than any SMG or the R101. I think there I would, you know, may the better player win. But up close, I'm still putting my money behind the R101 or an SMG. But that's not to say that there's somebody quite talented with this Spitfire. And this Spitfire is definitely strong. It hits so hard. It's, oh boy, when I miss that first grapple, I'm like, that tone's gonna get me. Barely got away. This is what I missed about the laser. When there is people camping up with Spitfires from really long distance, it's like the only reason they keep living and they're so hard to kill is because at that range, if you are paying attention and all you're doing is camping and your focus is nowhere else, as soon as you get hit, you go for cover. It's like great. You're hard to kill because you're 3 to 4 shots and you have to space them if you want to make them at that distance. With a laser, you just one-shot them. I had to leave this in here because this guy wanted to challenge me. He saw me laser. He's like, I'm gonna get in on that fun. Then it seems like he wants to get in on some melee fun. And I am happy to entertain. I will comply. Alright. I took out most of the Titan parts. There were actually some pretty good ones. There was some big runs with the actual laser, the ion laser. The only reason I left this part in was because the first guy took the battery. If you catch an auto Titan, the best thing to do is rodeo them first, take that battery, and then finish them off. It's a free battery, which is even better than just killing a free Titan. Spots like that back there are perfect for the Spitfire. You can see how it has really easy cover if you stay on those stairs. You can head glitch really easy. There's a lot of places to just dodge. If people start rushing you, they don't know if you just crouch behind the wall. They don't know if you drop down or went completely behind. Like, it's hard to keep track of somebody there. I couldn't believe I screwed this up. I don't know why, but all I had to do was use my laser. He would have been doomed, and I would have executed him as he got into his Titan. I essentially gave him a free life here. Like, he should be dead. This is the same problem you see when you're using a North Star and you're trying to figure out how much do you need to charge the shot in order to get him doomed, and then you can execute him. You are either wasting time charging it, or you are doing it too early and then they don't get anything. This guy gave up that free life. I don't know what he was thinking. If you're gonna land anywhere, land on a building, and if you're already invis, there's really no reason to give yourself away. Unfortunately, there's going to be no shenanigans here. He did end up getting creeped up from behind, so we're going to look for something else. What do you guys think so far? Do you think the Spitfire is a little bit too strong, or do you see that it does have inherent weaknesses? Or do you think the weaknesses that I see or the strengths that I see are not accurate? Let me hear that in the comments, because in the end, you guys are going to be casting your vote on whether you think the Spitfire is guilty or not. I am very conflicted. I do think it's very map dependent, so if a Spitfire, to me anyways, is only good in some particular maps, and I still find that car is going to be just as good, an alternator in R101, can I really call this thing OP? Alright, so that's one game. This is that example where you see me kill a bunch of grunts and still have enough left over to kill this pilot. This was me experimenting. You can see by the time that this was at the beginning of the game, I had already just made one approach. I killed the guy with a grenade off the start, and I was okay with this too. I'm like, where's that grenade gonna hit? He manages to bail just in time, and this is one of those times where I was holding the trigger, and I'm like, yep, that doesn't work. Holding the trigger up close, yeah, that works. So that were some advantages of it. I'm gonna show you one clip that I think puts everything into perspective. I'll show you guys this clip at the end of why, well, I don't want to spoil it, but we'll do that at the end. Let's just look at a couple more shots. Like right there, I feathered the trigger. I'm already learning as I go through, right? It was just 2 games, and I'm already learning like the differences between the Spitfire. It's such an easy gun. But then again, aren't most guns in Titanfall easy except for grenadiers, snipers? Yeah, they're all just point, shoot, die. The Volt, you have to shoot longer, and then they die. You know, they're almost all the same, but there are definitely different skills to these weapons. This wasn't evident at the beginning of the game, by the way. The tiers on guns were not set. People were still learning how to use it. A gun may be better or worse depending on how people are doing with their mobility. So as the community got better with mobility, more guns are viable. That's why you see such use of the Mastiff. Like, some people run train with the Mastiff. They just go nuts with it. So for all the things you may think of the Spitfire, just know that like every other gun, it doesn't stand a chance against a Reaper. See, it's not overpowered. If it can't kill a Reaper like every other gun, is it really that good? So have I made a case either way? That's for you to decide. If you guys want to join in, leave your verdict below, and we're going to get to the bottom of this. In about a week, I'm going to tally up all the votes, and we're going to see, is it guilty for crimes against Titanfall? Or is it innocent? Is it killing the fun? Is that really what's getting murdered here? Fun? I don't know, I had a lot of fun using it, to be honest. I still had a decently active playstyle, but I did find that if I kept my feet on the ground a little bit more and focused more on positioning, I found I did better. I don't think it is the best gun in Titanfall. I think it's one of the best guns in Titanfall. And we'll leave it at that. Y'all have a good one. Paper, cut to you, and I'll see you guys next time.